next week.
Now, Stanley Mombo Amuti, a former National Water Conservation and Pipeline Corporation finance manager, once banked 1.5 million shillings in cash in one day. He visited the ATM 15 times to deposit the amount in installments of 100,000 shillings, attracting the attention of detectives. The case was prosecuted in court where the illegally acquired assets were recovered. In the same breath, 53 acres of land worth 5 billion shillings belonging to the Kenya Meteorological Department, which had been grabbed, was also recovered by the EACC. Now here's part 2 of our continued series, Graft Diaries by George Maringa.
In part 2 of our continued series of Graft Diaries, we focus on 53 acres of land belonging to the Meteorological Department. Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission recovered 53 acres of land worth 5 billion shillings taken from the Kenya Meteorological Department KMD and allocated to private companies. Justice Elijah Obaga ruled that former Commissioner of Lands Mr. Wilson Gashanja acted outside his powers when he alienated the government land and allocated it to 5 companies which went ahead to develop and put up multi-billion shilling structures on it. The judgment read in part, once public land has been reserved for a particular purpose, it is considered as alienated and cannot be available for allocation to private entities. The Commissioner of Lands had no authority to allocate the land for industrial use, since it is only the President with such powers. Justice Obaga went ahead to revoke the titles which had been issued to Beacon Towers Limited, Hillbrow Properties Limited, Brentwood Traders Limited, Varun Industrial Credit Limited and Pamba Properties Limited for the 53.4 acres on grounds that the titles were irregularly acquired. The judge also found that all the 5 companies had the same directors and that there was suspicion on how their letters of grant were processed in a record 2 days on January 12th and January 13th, 1998. His decision meant that the companies would lose their multi-billion shilling investments after he allowed KMD to take over possession of the land. The judgment read, and I quote, "One cannot have over 50 acres of government land and claim he was an innocent investor. There is evidence that the companies were incorporated for the purpose of taking away land reserved for KMD, and if that is not fraud, then I do not know what other fraud can surpass this." Justice Obaga ordered the Registrar of Lands to amend its records to show that the land belongs to KMD. In the same breath, the year was 2008 when the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission EACC received reports of accumulation of unexplained wealth. The person of interest was Stanley Mombo Amuti, the finance manager at the National Water Conservation and Pipeline Corporation. Stanley Mombo Amuti once banked 1.5 million shillings in cash in one day. He visited the ATM 15 times to deposit the amount in installments of 100,000 Kenya shillings, attracting the attention of detectives. The case was prosecuted in court where the illegally acquired assets were recovered. Amuti was said to have been acquiring assets way beyond his known sources of income. After acquiring court orders, EACC conducted a raid and they made several discoveries.
Warrants to such accounts, warrants to such premises, warrants to such his offices. And once we obtained a warrant to search his offices and residence, we moved in, and on the 2nd of July 2008 is when we did a search in his office. Well, we found some cash money, some documents for property that he owned. I guess we found 310,000 shillings in his office, in his bag, you know, the bag that you carry every day to work. So it had 310,000. Then we had to progress to his residence in Buruburu. By the time we got there, he had said that he had some money in the house, just for warning us that there's some money in the house. I saw the plot. So he said, no, let's just go on with the search. It's good information, all right, let's walk in. So when we went there, we found that he had money, yes. we did a search, and inside the wardrobe, there was a bag up the topmost shelf. In there was food stuff, there was rice, sugar, and it's in that bag that we found 3,998,000, 2,000 shy of 4 million cash. It was in 1,000 shillings denominations. And he said, oh, this is a plot that we sold, counted the money, and of course took the money with us and other documents, just like what we had found in his office. Now he had more documents on properties. In the compound, there was a pickup, a Land Cruiser, new, brand new. It had not moved an inch, worth of maybe more than 5 million probably. And he had also another one, a station wagon this time, same make, Toyota Land Cruiser. That was elsewhere. He had 2 other vehicles to his title. He had a lot of landed property. He had houses, and you could tell that they're spread all over.
The investigations lasted a month, and the civil matter was now handled by the courts. The case against Stanley Amuti was also one of Kenya's first unexplained wealth cases.
This guy had deposited over 140 million shillings and had made a withdrawal of about 85 million shillings. To even deposit that, looking at his salary of gross 306,000, assuming not a shilling has been touched from his salary, there's no way he would explain how he ended up depositing 140 million shillings and transacting 85. It was still huge, even the balance of 50-something million. It was still huge for that kind of a person.
Amuti had only occupied that managerial position for a period of 10 months between September 2007 and June 2008. This unexplained wealth was contrary to his monthly gross income of 306,000 Kenya shillings. There was also evidence of trading with the corporation, proceeds of which differed from his non-legitimate source of income. After a legal tussle, which lasted almost a decade, Amuti's unexplained wealth was finally recovered by the state for being obtained through fraud.
We will be asking for 140 million, right? But now, we're not asking for 140 because there is the expenses that is taken, the taxation that has gone in, you know. The money that we are looking for and we were asking is not money that would be taken back to, in this case, was not money that belonged to the National Water Corporation at all. It's not money that belonged to an organization he was working for. He had just accumulated from sources that could only have been corrupt. This is money that is being forfeited to the government.
There was also evidence of Amuti receiving money believed to be kickbacks from suppliers of his employer. George Maringa, KTN News.